The next question we have is drowsiness in meditation. This is also very, very common. And there are various physiological, psychological, emotional reasons behind drowsiness. And of course, there's different types of drowsiness. So I'll begin there. There's the first type of drowsiness, just, you sit and you may be tired. Long day's work. It happens occasionally. So on the days that you're exhausted, right? Using your mind too much, it's like opening a can of worms. Just thoughts just come out, and you're hazy, dozing off. So it always happens gradually. So you may be beginning, if you're practicing our tradition, you have to ground yourself, progressive relaxation, adjust your attitude, and at that time you're already very kind of blissful, comfortable, content. So if you had a long day's work, you're going to be drowsy. That's why we have to uplift the mind with great fascination, great interest, clarity in the method. If you just have relaxed, content, then you'd probably fall asleep. So you have to uplift the mind once you're grounded. So these occasional ones, if your posture is correct, and it doesn't happen really often, that's a kind of light drowsiness. At that time, you should just rest. It's not effective because you're actually physically tired. The second type of drowsiness is a little more serious. It happens to people that meditate often, routinely. So every time they sit, 10, 15, 20 minutes into the period, they always end up in a cloudy, murky, hazy state. So this second type, they're not actually, bobbing their body like this, drowsy, sitting. They're just in this haze, this vacuity. That is what we call, in Chan, Zen, dwelling in the dark side of the mountain, in the ghost cave of nothingness. So this happens typically with seasoned practitioners. This is dangerous. So every time you sit, you always end up this state. And there's a kind of attachment that you have already developed, because that state could be blissful, comfortable. There's a kind of quietude and stillness to it. Right? And often practitioners mistake the kind of stillness as concentration or unification or some kind of positive state. That's not actually the case. The mind has stopped using the method. The mind has taken a break and has latched onto a stillness. Now, there are many varieties of this. Sometimes people have developed a practice in which they purposefully cultivate this kind of stillness, nothingness. This is probably the worst situation, because there's very strong attachment and there's personal meditative experience that back up that attachment, believing it to be some kind of attainment. So that kind of attachment is quite strong. Right? And the person may be sitting there for hours. So the description, the experience of this is their minds have generated an object. They have created stillness, or sometimes even clarity, as an object of fixation, of rigid attachment. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. For those of you who understand what I'm talking about, you probably have some experience of this. So the clarity becomes a thing, which is the mind's tendency to make a thing out of everything, which is simply just attachment. So he has created clarity, and he starts to fixate on this clarity in meditation, or fixate into a kind of nothingness, thoughtlessness, right? And latched onto it. And at that time, they may have begun with working on the breath or some other method, but after they get into this state, the method is completely gone. It's just the mind-generated object, and then they fix on it, they attach to it. So that's complete delusion. Right? That clarity is not the clarity of awareness or awakening. That clarity is a false prop in which the mind generates, fabricates, which is a wandering thought. Itself is deluded. Right? So its meaning is it's kind of generated out of attachment. So because of that, when the cause is like this, the effect correspondingly will be the same. You begin with delusion, you're going to end up with delusion. It leads nowhere. That's why it's like the dark side of the mountain, where the sun don't shine. Inside of a dark cave, haunted. In fact, in that state, we're kind of haunting ourselves with this vacuity, nothingness, stillness. So basically, what we are cultivating, the kind of karmic seeds that we're planting, is that of ignorance, delusion. So that is not samadhi. That's far from it. That is not jhana. That is attachment. And the karmic seeds that we plant will be that of delusion, vacuity, nothingness. So just the opposite of wisdom and clarity. Okay. So that's the second type of drowsiness. Of course, there are great variety, different shades of experiences. But another type really comes from the physiological issues. Okay? When we sit, we have to sit upright, so the element of wind in our body flows smoothly. Earth, water, fire, and wind. Element of wind flows smoothly, our breath. If your posture is like this, in which your diaphragm is being pressed, right? And upper body's weight kind of sinks down into the lower body. That means your breath will be shallow. Right? It will be up here. It won't go down. It won't flow smoothly. And with shallow breath, you will lack oxygen flow in your head. And 10, 15 minutes into the sitting, you'll fall asleep. So that's caused by physiological. Now, is the mind clear? Is it kind of stillness or vacuity? No, it's just So you have drowsiness and kind of daydream, dreaming. So it's not so good. And that may be caused by physiological issues. So the posture is very important. So you have to check what's going on in the body. Diaphragm must relax so that the lower abdomen, abdominal breathing can happen. It just means the diaphragm is relaxed and breathing, all the internal organs are relaxed, and the wind breath, the wind element flows smoothly. And the stomach will have rise and fall, following the rhythm of the breath. So that's the third type of drowsiness. So there are these different types. As for antidote, the first and the third one, easy. Adjust the posture, wake yourself up, and uplift the energy, uplift the mind. Yes, we should be content and relaxed, but we should have great interest in the method, great fascination. Experience the freshness of each moment on the method. Complicate it a little more. If that doesn't work, you can move. You can move, like moving meditation. So you watch the movements, feel the sensations. It's hard to fall asleep if you're moving like this. In the beginning, the movements may be a little quick. As the mind regains its clarity, concentration, the movement will naturally slow down because you will pick up more and more sensations at the palm of your hand. You will pick up all the different qualities of sensations. In other words, your mind will sharpen around this method. Other antidotes, you can take a deep breath, rotate your neck, or get up and do some stretching and then sit again. So that's one antidote. So first, for the first and second. First and third, I'm sorry. The second antidote, very difficult. Because there's personal experience and attachment, believing that that's favorable, that's samadhi, that's jhana. I'm gaining some meditation experience, and I'm being I'm getting somewhere. Right? That comes from erroneous understanding about meditation in the Buddhist tradition. So it's very hard because there's attachment there. Right? So either regularly or report to your teacher. If you don't have a teacher, find a teacher. Interview. And then the teacher will discern where you're at in meditation by your descriptions, by the way you talk about the experience. And he may test you a little bit to see what you are experiencing. This person has to be someone that you have confidence in, someone that you trust. If it's just some Joe Schmo, some other person you don't know, you may think you're better than them. You may think your experience is deeper than them. I can sit here 4 hours without moving, but it's just nothingness. There's no wisdom there. So you have to find a teacher. Alternatively, if you are looking at this video and I'm explaining exactly what you're experiencing, then you have to make a resolution. You have to see the shortcomings of this and make a resolution to get yourself out of it. Now, the problem with this is, because it's habituated, it's not a cerebral thing anymore, nor is it experiential. It's somatically. Your body have learned to enter into these states. And that is part of the difficulty, right? So one way to get out of it is just not to sit in the posture that you are used to, but kneel on the hard floor, kneel on the floor. So there's pain. So you don't get into these states of bliss, of kind of stagnation, nothingness. Second, you must have an effective method. You must know how to use the method. That's another talk in itself. Once you know how to use the method will take you into deeper states of clarity and concentration. It's not you yourself let go of the method. Just sit there, do nothing. So the analogy of this is like traveling from point A to point B. You're walking. You want to keep walking. That's the task. You don't want to get distracted by beautiful scenery. The beautiful scenery are those states of stagnation, nothingness, quietude, stillness. That's like a person walking from point A to point B, halfway there. Oh, the beautiful scenery, mountains. Let me just stop walking, just experience that. Whatever pleasurable states arise in meditation, don't lose the method of practice. Stick to it. Then that state will pass. You will deepen. Otherwise, meditate, use the method, good experience arise, you let go of the method. Right out the window, you just stay with that good, blissful state. That's like the person that's walking halfway and just stops walking, just start to look at scenery. Scenery is not the destination. Scenery has nothing. They're just distractions. Yes, pleasurable states in meditation, basically they're distractions from what really matters, which is the nature of your mind. Your emancipation, your liberation, your freedom. That's not freedom. That's a temporary prop, temporary altered states of consciousness. Altered states of consciousness is not awakening. Awakening is not some altered states of consciousness. Okay? So all these things, whether, of course, people are very easy. They can let go of wandering thoughts, discursive thinking. They don't like that, so they can use the method. When it comes to blissful states, it's very difficult for people to let go of the method because they want to stay with that blissful state. So you got to recognize what's happening, keep going until the method drops you. The method brings you to naturally states of consciousness, of concentration. And Buddhism recognizes different states of concentration. It's not that you drop the method drops you. As far as you're concerned, the method is still present. The method, when you drop away, the method itself will drop away. That doesn't mean awakening yet. It's just unification, different states of unified self. But the method and you becomes one. Previous moment, subsequent moment becomes one. That's what's meant by unification. So now you know what to do. And so these different levels of drowsiness, be aware of the pitfall and apply correct antidote and keep going.